documenting who attends, so that we know how many people are actually participating. Again, one of the guidelines or our norms is really to stay muted when you're not speaking, so people don't hear what's going on in your office or in the background. And then using the raise the hand feature indicate you want to speak, and or utilizing the Q&A link that we have in that we just put into the chat. Appreciate everyone's time. I know everyone is busy closing out the semester, getting ready to go to winter break. So appreciate you guys coming in. Our hopes are to really continue to provide information and updates thus far that we get from the state, as well as answer any questions that you all may have. So I'll give it another minute for folks to put their names in the chat. Alex, we can go to the next slide. Actually, you can go to the next two slides. Go to the next one. I'll go one back. I'm sorry. So we know we are in the part of the grant around the implementation plan. Some LEAs have already sent their implementation plans, which is great. But even before we get into the implementation plans, we've been reaching out to some of the LEAs who have not signed or invoiced us for the MOU, right? So we want to make sure that we get those MOUs signed, as well as you guys invoice us for your 50% of the money, okay? So if you haven't done that and you need any kind of support, or you got to give us a heads up about anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to us on the MOU, right? The MOU, so we can make sure we're getting that 50% out. We'll talk more about the folks who have actually invoiced us already. We'll talk about the timeline on that funding actually hitting your account, that money being transferred, and or for our charters, if it's not a transfer, it will be a check. And that's something that we've been working through on our end here. But one of the things we want to really focus on the update, we've been getting the implementation plans. Thank you all. We will be sending emails out to let you know that we received them, but because we've begun to look at them and to evaluate them. Want to really encourage all you all to, and if you want to redo it or kind of relook at it after this conversation, contact us. But we are looking at many of them, and they are very robust and kind of like out in the air. And we want to let you know, like, you don't have to overthink the implementation plan. I think as we're looking at them, we kind of see like people might feel compelled to overload the information. And so we want you to be very clear and concise in the way that you approach the implementation plan. And also remembering, whatever you put into that implementation plan, you are prepared to actually implement as the deliverable, right? So we don't want you guys to overthink it, or to over plan, or not over plan, because over planning is good, but extend yourselves in the way that you're approaching the implementation plan. Again, as I told you guys early on, implementation plans are coming to us, to me and my team. So we are the evaluators, and we're going to be the ones to approve them or not approve them, and not approve them, but we would ask more questions. So don't feel like you have to, create your own hoops to make it sound better than it needs to be, or some outlandish. We're seeing a lot of stuff, and I'm only saying this because we're seeing a lot of stuff. And again, if those are things that you're going to deliver on, absolutely move forward with it. But we just want you to know that you don't have to feel compelled to overextend yourselves for the implementation plans. Okay, and I'm sure you guys have questions about that as we move forward. But just remember, whatever you put into the implementation plan, the state is expecting that you're also going to deliver on that. Okay. The other category in the implementation plan, really looking at providing justification. What we mean here is, if you put something in the other that it doesn't fit into one of the other four categories, okay? That's really when we're talking about providing justification, right? If we're going to do something in the other, just ensuring that can't be utilized or couldn't be that wouldn't function in one of the other 4 categories. All right. But if you have questions, as you see at that last bullet, just reaching out to your point of contact for support. If you don't know who your point of contact is, you can certainly reach out to our SLP email, and we can get you connected to whoever you need to be connected to. Alex, let's go to the next slide. So for the next steps, I was kind of alluding to this. You're going to be receiving an email, an approved email, right? So we received your implementation plan, and your implementation plan has been approved by us, and or we would send you an email from your point of contact. So that first email would actually come from the SLP, and I believe, Veronica, am I right? Is that coming from the SLP? The approval is going to come from the SLP email. If we have clarifying questions, that's going to come directly from your point of contact. Okay, so we've already been sending some of those emails out, and also been meeting with folks. And I want you guys to know that we are available to meet with you if you have questions. We can have individual conversations with you around your implementation plan. You got questions, concerns, please reach out. If you don't know your point of contact, you can reach out directly to me, or you can reach out to the SLP email, and we can get you connected to that. But we will begin to start sending those emails out to you all to let you know that we received it, you've been approved. Please invoice us for that 40%. Now, I can tell you, we from SBCSS have not received the 40%, because our implementation plan was approved by the state, but we have not received our 40%. So that 40% funding, that money would not be being dispersed until we received it from the state. Right, but you are still more than able to invoice us for your implementation plan. Send us that invoice for your implementation plan. Again, all remembering that the implementation plan is not due until January 31st. You can do it before, but again, if you're still working on it, don't feel rushed. You still have till January 31st to put that in. Really, the priority right now is, if you haven't turned in your MOU, really get that MOU to us so we can get that 50% to you. Okay, Alex, let's go to the next slide. And please put your questions in the chat. If you guys are having questions, I only got the chat open. Let me open the chat just in case I'm missing something. So again, for the timeline for the funding, so we've received quite a few MOUs, signed MOUs, and we've executed on our end. So we have quite a few fully executed MOUs. So I appreciate you guys, your timely, for those who have been timely, right? That's the PBI, for folks who have done it. Thank you for doing that so far. We still want to encourage, and we want to get 100% of that. So we will be looking to distribute through check or wire transfer. The funds will be distributed through check or wire transfer. And we are really looking at, hopefully, all of this. I don't want to say hopefully, because that always sounds horrible, but that this money is distributed, or the check is sent out by December 31st. And I think that's what we had in our original MOU as well. So we are, if you've sent it in already, it has been processed. It is in process. Now it's that business services. If you've sent in your MOU invoice, I've signed it, and we've sent it over to business services. Now business services is doing their thing. Okay. So we are looking for that to be, to start being distributed by the end of December. Okay. So that's what we are working towards. So again, we've signed it on our end. If it's come through our office, we've signed it. We've sent it to the business services. It's a lot of LEAs, right? With 59 participants. So it is going to be a lot on the business services, but we're trying to make sure if we get it in our office, to get it out so that we can get business services to do their thing with it. Okay. So that's just an update for folks who are wondering when the money could possibly be coming. Okay. Alex, we can go to the next slide. I'm gonna pass the mic over to Karen. She's gonna talk a little bit about the second cycle of the wellness coach scholarship. Karen?
Hi, everyone. So the Wellness Coach Scholarship, they're going to open it up starting January 2nd. So these are for students with associate's or a bachelor's degree wanting to become a certified wellness coach. So they did a round one, I think this summer. And so now they're going to do it again. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. And then, yeah, that's all I had to share about that.
I'd just like to add the benefit of becoming a wellness coach. If you have staff on your team that are providing any kind of coaching or behavioral health services, they will be able to bill to the fee schedule with that certification.
Thank you. And again, if you have questions, certainly put those questions around the wellness coach. Some folks might not even know what a wellness coach is. If you have questions about that, put it into the chat. We can get deeper into it in the question. We just want to make sure we give enough time for the questions. So if you want more information about that, we can talk more about it in our question and answer time as well. Next slide. So this is one of our last slides before we get into the question and answer. And this is really new developments since Friday. Friday, what is that, the 7th or the 6th? The 6th. So on the 6th, it says it here, right? On the 6th, DHCS did announce that they are no longer making it mandatory for folks to be Medi-Cal enrolled to be a part of the fee schedule. And we can talk more about this. Please ask questions. So you don't have to be in LEA Bob, you don't have to be in the SMI program in order to do it, which sounds kind of wild because one of the 4 areas of focus is Medi-Cal enrollment, right? But again, this is the state is seeing it fit for folks to not have to be in the Medi-Cal program. Now, one piece to that, and I just think about our county, it is going to be much more advantageous for folks to utilize all of the programming for sustainability, right? When you're thinking of the fee schedule more than likely, based on the amounts, would not be able to sustain all of the service provisions that you guys are doing. So if you want to maintain a robust system, then you want to make sure that you're looking at all of the different mechanisms that the state has in place. So we are still encouraging you to consider, if you're not already Medi-Cal enrolled, that you still move forward with that. Now you don't have to, maybe you don't have to rush, you don't have to overextend yourselves to go through the Medi-Cal process to one day to utilize the fee schedule. But our advice, or what we would encourage, is that you're looking at utilizing all the Medi-Cal programs alongside with the fee schedule. That's going to be the biggest bang for your buck, or going to be the most sustainable mechanism for your services. So again, ask questions and put some questions in the chat or in the little question and answer deal, and we can talk deeper about it. But just know there's a new pathway that you can go straight to the fee schedule without doing the Medi-Cal enrollment. Okay. So Alex, go ahead and go to the next slide. I believe it's their Q&A. Again, that's the link to it. Madhu, I'll open up your mic, and if we have some questions, then we can start answering questions.
Yeah, we have 5 questions in the Google form. So the first one, what goes in the invoice column, deliverable and staff space?
So in the deliverable for the MOU, I'm assuming if we're talking about the MOU, you can actually just utilize the language from the MOU about signing. I don't know what it says off the bat. MOU for something I've seen. Signed MOU for capacity grant. That simple, y'all. Okay, I've signed some that said that. But if you need specific language, there's some language in that first deliverable. You can just copy that first deliverable in the MOU and paste that into the invoice as a deliverable. If I'm not answering your question well enough, please, you can open up your mic and clarify with me.
And then, oops, is the staff part just the staff member that's representative of the charter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Melissa.
Oh, thank you.
Well, next question we have is, what happens if the implementation plan isn't approved and you already invoiced 50% with the MOU?
So the implementation plan and the MOU that wouldn't impact it, right? So that wouldn't impact the MOU funding. Again, the MOU funding is based on you getting into the signed agreement with SBCSS. The implementation plan triggers the other 40%, right? So as your implementation plan is approved, then that 40% will become unlocked for that. So again, and it's not a deal around your implementation plan not necessarily being approved. We might have some questions. We might have some things that we want you to clarify and or correct. And once you correct those things, then we will make sure that your implementation plan. We just are making, our job is to ensure that your implementation plan aligns with the deliverables and the allowables in that the state has, that we see, that the state sees fit, right? So we are there, we're an agent for them, right? We kind of are speaking for them. So again, it's coming to us. So we would have a discussion with you. We would work with you to make sure it's approved. So that the approval is not going to be a problem. We just want to make sure that it's in line with what the state is asking. Okay, but just to answer your question, the MOU you signed, that's going to trigger the 50%. The implementation approval would trigger that the 40% being released once we get it as well. We invoice, you send us the invoice, we approve it, you send us the invoice, we will then send the money once we get it from the state. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Next question we have, cohort 4 applications and capacity grant plans are due on the same date. Was that purposeful or an oversight?
No, I think that's not an oversight. Those are all, any dates are all established by the state. So and again, the capacity grant is one piece, which is being administered from Sacramento and Santa Clara, and then the fee schedule or the cohorts are controlled or administered by DHCS. So DHCS oversees everything, but none of the capacity grant has anything to do with the dates of DHCS of the fee schedule, because those are all done by two different entities. Okay, so as far as the administration of them, okay, so those dates, it's not an oversight. It's actually DHCS is making their dates, and then SCOE and Sacramento are SCOE is Sacramento. SCOE, Sacramento Office of Education, and Santa Clara are making dates for the capacity grant. Okay, and if there's some issues with the dates and all those kind of deals, please reach out to us. Let us know, and if we can advocate on behalf of you, we will do that as well. Okay, so don't hesitate to reach out on behalf of that. Marwa?
All right, the next question we have, we were asked to send an invoice but haven't received a notification of approval. Will that come soon?
Yes. So that is what so if you received a if you were contacted about sending the invoice, that more than likely should have been for the MOU. We've been reaching out to folks about making sure to send the invoice for your signed MOU. Okay, the implementation plan, those emails are going to start coming out because we just began and finishing some of the implementation plan, like reviewing some of those. So those will be coming out next week. So if you've turned in your implementation plan and we've had an opportunity to review it, we are going to be sending you an email letting you know that we reviewed it, you're approved, and we've already been having these conversations. We've been reaching out about questions that we had as we've been reviewing. But if you're good to go, you're going to get an email letting you know that that has been approved, and you can trigger your invoice. Now, some folks have they've turned the invitation plan in and they've done their invoice. Again, ultimately, you're going to get your 40%, but it would process-wise, get the email, send the invoice would be it would be a way to make sure you've done it in a way that you know your implementation plan. You're still looking and waiting for that approval so that you can move forward. That way you don't forget about it. We know you guys got all kind of stuff on your plate, things you guys are doing. Okay. Marwa?
Okay, my school contracts with Practical for Medi-Cal billing. The Practical representative is questioning whether or not the wellness coach certification has been approved for the CYBHI billing. Can you please confirm this?
So nobody has, when we talk about just reimbursements and the fee schedule, there's been no I think, Veronica, what was it? One person has.
Yeah, I think there's one person, a couple now, have successfully submitted claims to the fee schedule. But to answer your wellness coach question, the state is still working out the details and the CPT codes that a wellness coach would be able to use when they're doing their documentation. So it hasn't been approved, but it is being worked on.
Yeah.
But at the moment, the mental health worker is approved on the fee schedule.
Okay. And if you need clarification, please open your mic. We can discuss it as well.
Hi, this is Desiree. I submitted that question. Do you know when they're expecting to have the billing codes worked out for the wellness coach?
No, when I was in the meeting last week, they still hadn't gave a deadline. But as soon as we know, we will certainly send out that information.
Okay, and then because Practical is saying they can't set up an account for the wellness coach because they don't have any codes to tie services to, basically.
Yeah, that's correct.
Should we just have them recording that somewhere else, and then once the codes are approved, will we be able to retroactively go back in to submit those? You
can do that, and I would also say a peer specialist, CPT codes have already been carved out. Mental health worker has already been carved out. So if Practical has access to all the CPT codes, they can create, align the wellness coach with those CPT codes, but just don't open it up. So basically they can build their system, but don't open it for you to submit a claim until we get the real codes from the state.
Okay.
Does that help?
Good.
Okay.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
And I just added the fee schedule scope of services. They updated it on November 2024. So I put the new updated scope of services on there. It still says draft because I think they're still working on it. So I put that in the chat. And James, you have a question in the chat too. I think it got lost. It was, do we need to collect insurance information if Medi-Cal is not required for CYBHI?
I'll answer that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, you still will need their Medi-Cal information to submit a claim. You're just going to submit the claims directly to the the fee schedule versus Medi-Cal.
I know that was you, Desiree. Is that clear to you? Is that good?
Right, yeah, so right now we'd use Practical for our LEA BOP submissions. And we verify, like we get approval to bill on behalf of the student to Medi-Cal.
Mm-hmm.
We're not collecting like their cards or membership information. So are you saying that we would now have to do that for the CYBHI?
Yeah, so you're going to, so you could do it again. This is going to be kind of best practice. It's kind of going to really be dependent upon your LEA and your board and your community of how you would do it. So you could continue to do it in the way that we usually do Medi-Cal, right? Where we might be in a IEP or something with the family, and we ask them if they have Medi-Cal, and then we charge it that way. Where you might be providing service to a service or a family, and you could say we have this opportunity to reimburse for your insurance. You can do it that way and kind of do it after, right? Where you're asking for permission after. Or the best practice is probably going to be that, again, might be a little different for each community, doing it in the front, doing it kind of in your enrollment packet, doing it early on as a mass collection of that data. So if I have Medi-Cal, I got Blue Cross, whatever I may have, collecting insurance so that when the kids do get services, we've already done some of that that work, because you are going to need their actual insurance information to get reimbursement from their insurance company.
Yeah, and that would be for Medi-Cal and
private insurance.
There is some information that is in, I think, our toolbox. Karen may pop it in the chat, but there is some information that we provided on how your school district or LEA can go about trying to collect that information.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Marwa, another question?
No, we don't have any more questions in the Google form or in the chat.
So there are no questions? Everybody's good?
James, this is Pat Schlosser from Apple Valley. Hello.
Hey, Pat.
Still getting up to speed on some of this, but and I'm sorry I missed the beginning, but I wanted to learn a little bit more about that note that came out on December 6th that we already participate in Medi-Cal and LEA BOP. Do we have to do anything now in order to sort of merge those two?
No.
Okay.
No. So what came out on the 6th was that, just again, for people who are not participating in the Medi-Cal programs, they are allowed to participate in a cohort now, without being, where that has been the last 3 cohorts you had to be enrolled in the Medi-Cal programs to participate.
Okay, that's what I thought I heard. Thank you.
Yes. And what I was saying, Pat, is as Apple Valley is already in place, like you have putting all 3 of those programs in, put them into concert where you have your altos, sopranos, and your tenors working, is going to be a better choir than just having a solo artist called the fee schedule, right? So we just want to encourage that piece from our standpoint. We know that's going to be help with some of the sustainability.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mario.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hey, good afternoon.
I have a quick question about the data use agreement with Clarion. I have it printed out, I have it ready, but my district is telling me that we need to have it signed by Clarion before they'll take it to board and move forward with it. So who do I contact to get this signed by them?
So, you know, so it would be DHCS that I would go through. I know I seen Adam on the call, who's from Redlands, and we were in a meeting earlier this morning about this. And what I don't know how it's gonna go, Mario, but I can tell you, Caroline has not been the most flexible folks, right? So where we're saying we're gonna sign this before y'all sign it. I don't know, Mario. So
Okay.
we can get, and Marwa, take note to that because you support Uplift. We get you a person to that we'll reach out and find out a person for you.
Perfect. Because I know that that's one of the biggest barriers to billing right now is this data use agreement. So I'm trying to
Yes.
get on it so that we're moving forward with it.
Yeah.
But my district was like, nope, we're not signing it until they do. And I think they're going to say we're not signing it until they do. And so
Yeah.
if that's the case, I'm going to just have to push and say, can we just please sign it? Like, let's move forward. So okay.
Yes. And I know again, there's been a lot of, I know our first two districts who have participated in cohort 1, they have been in dealing with the DUA back and forth with Caroline, Rialto and Redlands. So again, there's some language in there that both of the districts were not happy with, and Caroline has not been flexible in that. Okay, so and Adam just put, thank you, Adam. Adam just put a link in there in the chat, Mario. But
Perfect.
it was some of the language. So again, they was kind of, I don't know. Caroline hasn't been the greatest so far.
So Mario, if I could jump in for a sec, Mario, if you're just looking for like a contact person to reach out to and have this discussion with, I would use that email address.
Okay.
That I just put in there. They have Caroline's broken it down into there are different areas with different reps for each area, and our area rep is, I believe her name is Mercedes. Let me see if I can find her email. And if I do, I'll put it in the chat, but that's where I would start, honestly. Yeah, I got it right here. I'll put it in. But to what James was saying, it has been a bit of a difficult conversation with them in regards to the language in the DUA. So we're kind of at a standstill right now until that gets figured out through DHCS.
Thank you so much.
Adam.
And is it true that there's been, so I don't know if anybody else is getting these calls, but I'm getting calls from all kinds of companies that are saying, hey, we can help you. We can do this. We can do that. I've been telling them no. But I got one from somebody who said, hey, we're the first district, or we've helped the first district bill already through CYBHI. Does anybody know if that's actually happened? It has. Okay.
That has
So-
happened, but I don't know who
What company?
it was.
Yeah.
Who reached out to you.
It was
Do you know who
Tad
the
Health.
company is?
Yeah, that was
That helps.
them. That was them.
Yeah.
They submitted the first claim, but so has eClinic Works or something like that through Santa Clara. So there's been a couple successful submissions.
Yeah. And to again, we are in the process of developing a RFP for the electronic health record that we are going to purchase. Now, again, this isn't something, if we know districts already have Practical and they have their EHRs. So this is really something that we're going to be looking at as a means to support some of the districts who may not have that infrastructure already in place, right? As well, one of the other things that we want to do with that, and I had a good conversation with Antonio Castro from Colton, of getting some of the people who do this work, right? Some of the therapists or people who are leading the therapists to kind of help us as we get these RFPs, getting input from you all to see what we purchase. So we don't want it just to be our end that we purchased it and we're like, hey, this is what y'all get, but we want to make sure that we involve you folks in getting something that's going to be good for the county, right? That's user friendly, but it also has the features that you guys see fit. And so Veronica's been helping lead that aspect from our end, but we will be facilitating just some like a little baby think tank or something around choosing the right RFP. So we will be sending out some information about that for folks who want to be a part of that and help us in identifying the right tool for just the county tool that we can purchase. Okay, so I want to make sure to bring that to you all as well. Any other thoughts or questions?
We do have 2 questions that were
Oh, okay.
submitted.
Oh, good.
So one, is there a sample of the progress report or a template that we can use?
Okay. And no, we've been contacted from some of you all about the progress report, and we've asked SCOE in Sacramento and Santa Clara about that, and they have not developed it yet. So we are still on the still waiting for them to give us what that progress report is going to look like. So please be patient with us as we're trying to be patient with the state.
The next question we have, if we are still applying for cohort 4, do we need the DUA from Carillon yet?
No. So once you get blessed to be a part of a cohort, then once you go through that process, then they will give you the DUA. So you go through all the paperwork with them. So yeah, don't concern yourself with the DUA and all that until you're actually in the process. You're actually been approved to be a part of one of the cohorts. Okay.
I don't have any more questions in the form.
Okay. So I'm not gonna belabor it. If everyone feels that they have what they need to move forward, we're certainly gonna close the meeting. But I just lastly want to open up if there's anything anyone needs, and if you want to wait, if you don't want to ask in front of everybody, we'll stay on the call until 3 o'clock to answer any individual questions as well. Again, be looking for those emails about your implementation plans. We've also reached out to people about their MOUs, getting those signed and getting invoicing us. If you have questions about that, concerns about that, reach out to us as well. Again, we're getting the information from the state. We're trying to get it out to you all. So as we get stuff and learn things, we send it out. Karen, thank you for putting the email in there. Reach out to us. We'll make sure that any information that we get, we'll send it to you. Our folks who are participating in the cohorts, if you guys need some advocacy or you guys got questions, please, Mario, y'all reach out to us and we'll get the information that we can get. We always in these calls with the state, and Rebecca, who's not on the call today, she's with the state all the time on these calls. So if there's things that we need to get on y'all behalf, let us know. We'll make sure to do that. Okay. If that's all, we got 20 minutes of time for y'all to get something else done for y'all. Y'all close your offices up. So, Mr. Rick Chet, you gotta say something?
Nope. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you all. Thank you all for your time. Thank you all for your time. See you guys next time. Please reach out. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, James, I didn't want to waste everybody's time on here, but
Yeah. No, you good.
So what would you guys say, just advice-wise, maybe Mara, you can help me. What is like the best way to approach this, do you think? What were some of the issues, I guess, that they had problems with the language? What were those barriers?
So, Cecilia from Rialto is on the call. Cecilia, you want to talk about that, what you guys have been dealing with?
I would have to say right now we're still waiting on our DOA to be signed because we're working with Carillon and our business services, I think Redlands as well, with some of the language with data breach. So that's kind of holding us up right now, but we have a committee that we have with the district personnel. So we've kind of put that on hold right now, so we haven't submitted any provider rosters or anything like that because we're still waiting for the DOA to be signed. But for that part right now, that's pretty much our biggest barrier. But
Yeah.
So the data breach, that like, what do they do? How are they securing has been the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Who's gonna be liable?
Liable money. If there's a breach or when there's a breach, I always